Long ago, when the pyramids were still young, Egyptian kings played a game of great and terrible power. They did battle with magic and monsters for riches and glory. From these shadow games erupted a war that threatened to destroy the world, until a brave and powerful pharaoh locked the dark magic away, imprisoning it for all eternity within the mystical Millennium Items.
But this ain't that movie. Okay, so hi, welcome to Unscripted. This is Tyler from Encredit Reviews.
And Steven from Steven Lawson Studios.
Yeah, and today we have Gods of Egypt.
Unfortunately, not the three gods of Egypt, Obelisk the Tormentor, Slifer the Sky Dragon, and the Winged Dragon of Ra. Yu-Gi-Oh fans.
Yeah, no, but anyway, the one obvious thing that everyone's been... I mean, when we went to go see this movie tonight, it was... I mean, there were some people in it, but not as much people as there could have been on opening weekend.
Oh yeah, it was... I would say... There wasn't nobody in the theater, but it was just a handful of people. It wasn't a good turnout by any means, I would say. Very mediocre.
Yeah, no, I mean, the power of people whining on Twitter will do.
Yep.
Yeah.
They have to share their yeast infections over social media, so unfortunately that's become a powerful source of influence.
Sadly, most of the time for the worst. But anyway, so Gods of Egypt. Now, the plot to this movie is pretty much about, back in Egyptian times, we pretty much have the Egyptian gods rule over humanity, and everyone's all cool about serving the gods because I guess they're all cool in that. And until there's this one god, Set, played by Gerard Butler, says like, you know, I'm going to take your land because I'm pretty much stuck in the middle of the desert, which is understandable why he's pissed about that, and pretty much kills his brother, the name just left me, Osiris, Osiris, and then he pretty much blinds his nephew, Horus, and thus it's up to pretty much a thief named Beck, played by Brendan Thralls, and they pretty much go on an adventure to kind of take back Egypt and to defeat Set and so on and so forth. Now, this movie is actually directed by Alex Proyas, or not, maybe that's how you pronounce the name? Alex Proyas? Proyas, okay. This guy has a pretty interesting career. He's directed The Crow, Dark City, I, Robot, and Knowing.
Those are some interesting ones, to be sure, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, he's made some really good movies and some not so good ones. So I would say this movie kind of falls in the middle.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, it's not as bad as everyone else says it is. I think the main reason why people are not really given much of a chance is because of the fact of the controversy with the ethnicity of the casting in this movie.
I think that's certainly true. I also think a lot of how it was marketed and the time period at which it's been released kind of make it appear as a kids' adventure type of movie and not necessarily... They think it's going to be a cheap flick, and I was, actually, I don't know about you, Tyler, but I was pleasantly surprised because I went in thinking exactly that, based on the commercials. It's kind of marketing it as a, this will be a adequate adventure movie, I guess. Or at the very least, something to make fun of. But it was a little more than that, I think. It had, a fairly solid story, I would say. And even though some of the actors were questionable and a few scenes of CG were questionable as well, overall I think they did a pretty good job for, what they had. And they did a little better than my expectations for it.
Yeah, no, I'll get back to those two. But the thing is, it's kind of like, I feel like there's a lot of hypocrisy right here. It's like, I'm just saying that you're okay with pretty much an African-American actor playing a Norse god in the Thor movies, but you have a problem with, white guy playing an Egyptian god.
Yeah, there is definitely some validity to that. And star power, as in not literal stars, but celebrities, I think has part of it too. Like, in this, look at the guys from Game of Thrones, or we're throwing some of them in there, and we're making Ra, I've forgotten his name, but the guy from the King's Speech who teaches the king how to speak, not like a nincompoop, and he was also the pilot of the Black Pearl.
Oh yeah, the captain of Black Pearl, from Captain Barbosa.
Yep.
Yeah, he was raw. I mean, there's a part where he's like on fire, and you said like
Bernie Sanders, because he was Bernie and he was in the sand, but also,
yeah.
you know.
Right. Well, I added the sand part, but
Yeah, that's true. And there was the whole, fact that whenever, he was deploying fire, he was obviously taking tracks off of my mixtape and deploying them.
Yeah. So pretty much we'll get to the mortals, but the gods, I think, did an all right job for what they were giving. I mean, there's one guy plays Thoth, who's like the god of knowledge, played by Chadwick Boseman. I mean, I've seen him in like 42, but also he's gonna play Black Panther and Captain America: Civil War. I'm really interested in that. What I liked about how they portray the gods in this movie is that they were pretty tall. I mean, they didn't look like terrible CGI. Like, remember Jack the Giant Slayer, where they had the giants, but they were obvious CGI?
Yeah.
But this one did it right. They actually made them larger. I mean, this is a special effect even before CGI was even invented, where they pretty much make someone look bigger, and they did it right in this one.
Mm-hmm. It wasn't well, I guess it was somewhat significant, a difference in height, but it was basically like 6 feet to 10 feet, so they weren't just out of frame compared to, the humans, but there was definitely a visible size difference.
Yeah, true. I think the only casting in this movie I really didn't like was Brandon Thrall's. I mean, you can kind of argue, like I would be like, okay, they established the Egyptian gods are kind of like multiracial, I guess. But yeah, Brandon Thrall's, he didn't really, I mean, come on, does he even look Egyptian?
Who was Brandon Thrall's?
The main character, Beck.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, I mean,
he was a douchey pretty boy. That's the only reason he was.
Yeah, the lost member of One Direction.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but I'm sick and tired of seeing this guy. I think this guy is cinematic poison. I mean, I've seen him in Maleficent, and he was like the prince in that one. He was in The Giver as Jonas, and some other ones too. I mean, he's kind of like Jai Courtney, getting on my nerves, but I can kind of understand why he gets it, because I can understand why women find him handsome, but it's not like Jai Courtney where, like, he's kind of an ugly dude.
Well, are you saying this guy's ugly?
No, I'm just saying I can understand why he gets parts still, because he's probably kind of like early Matthew McConaughey. He's just getting by his looks. He's not really trying to act.
Yeah, that's definitely true.
I don't know. Maybe he will have some redemption later on. Maybe it'll be like Matthew McConaughey, where honestly, I hated Matthew McConaughey early in his career, but in recent years I actually really like Matthew McConaughey because his acting has definitely gotten better.
I agree. There are some movies he did in the past. I'll probably get skewered for this. But,
Fool's Gold?
No, not Fool's Gold. Close, Sahara. I actually didn't mind him in Sahara, but that was...
I haven't seen that.
It was decent, and it actually reminded me in several ways.
Indiana Jones?
Indiana Jones, and it felt, actually thinking about it, kind of about the quality of this movie. So,
minus the Egyptian gods and giant monsters and that.
Right, but there was a lot of traveling out west there, and even in the desert to, some battling. But
oh yeah, I love how the goddess of love calls herself like the mistress of the West.
Yes.
What was her name?
Insert cowboy hat on top.
I'm trying to remember my Egyptian. Oh, was it Hathor, played by Ildui Yoon?
I don't think so. What was it? It wasn't ISIS, was it?
No. Wait, please. We were mentioning a Egyptian god.
Right.
Don't
NSA,
blacklist us. Don't.
off our backs.
No, please. All right, just let you know. That's all. My God, sometimes people just can ruin just the simplest things in life.
Yep.
Just like simple names and that. Yeah, I mean, I can't watch an episode like, Yu-Gi-Oh! Where there's a character named that and not thinking of an event like that.
Ishizu. I don't know if there's an
No, there's
ISIS.
when they were talking about in the final season of Yu-Gi-Oh!, which this movie kind of reminds us of, is the fact when they talk about the, various characters, there was a character who has that name.
One of the Pharaoh servants, I gotcha.
Yeah. But back to the Egyptian mythology. I wish we would have kind of started off with this, but this story is loosely based off the story of Osiris or Horus from Egyptian mythology.
Absolutely, where Osiris gets chopped up. I think it was into 14
something like
pieces, and it's some fairly Christ-like, imagery where he's reborn again, and Horus defeats Set in that original story where Set tries to take over, and it's very similar in this.
But except they minus the part where he pretty much tricks Osiris to go into this like coffin, this like sarcophagus, and like seals it in with like hot silver, and then like rapidly cools it, and he's stuck in there.
Right.